part. You may just put that. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat for now.
That works. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. As we go into our second day of Halves, we already have our first team spotlit. We have 4 teams going today. If there are any guests in the room, I can't remember if I met anybody yet or not. Teams have 15 minutes to go. Keep an eye on your time since we're all on computers. And then 5 minutes Q&A. You can ask in the chat. Dave will call on people to unmute themselves and ask questions. And if you're not presenting, please have yourself muted and your cameras off just to help spotlight the team who's presenting for us. And you should have the ability to share screens now. So whenever you're ready.
Can you all see the screen share? Okay.
Yes.
Yep, we are ready.
Okay, I check my microphone.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Wait, let me share computer sound. Okay. Okay, shall we start now or?
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're starting now. Okay. Hi guys, we're Ignition, and our animated film is called Rhythm 知音. This is our team, and these are the faculty advisors. So we are making a short animated film adapting the Chinese legend, High Mountain and Flowing Water, and we are making a pre-production package for a future team. So the theme is about friendship, and the story is about a famous musician who feel no one truly understand his music. One day met this mountain recluse who can get what the musician is trying to express through the music without being explained to. Their platonic friendship was built up upon music until the mountain recluse passed away 1 year later. Then the musician gave up on his art for no one understand him anymore. So next, I will pass on to Chelsea to talk about our research part.
Thanks, Rosie. So for the research, can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide, yeah. So here is the concept we received from the pre-production package, because this story is a Chinese legend that set the definition of ultimate friendship in Chinese culture, which is called Know the Music. We wish to use the traditional Chinese art style to make this piece unique art-wise. Next slide, please. So we did research on Chinese ink painting. One of the signature look in those paintings is that the utilization of fog, which is shown in picture 2. Between mountains, water, and the sky, the fog was used to make them fade into each other and create this negative space. And for other elements, there are subtle differences in different era, especially on the object outline. For these element styles, we have picked these ones, the squiggly lines to indicate water flowing as shown in picture 3, and vegetation showing only in silhouette with different color shades and no outlines as shown in picture 5. And we do find Chinese artists in history also try to combine different style elements as we are trying to do now, which is shown on the left picture. For making it more unique, we decided to give the character heavy outlines and to give the entire image a paper texture feel as shown in picture 1, which is slide, please. For the story, we find people have different personal understandings of the core message of the story in this beginning of the semester. Some think it's about the musician grow up, understand art from a bigger picture. Some think it's about friendship, and some think it's about the relationship of a musician and a good listener. Next slide, please. So we did research on Chinese-themed film made by non-Chinese. This showed that altering the story might make people think it's not true to the culture. And if completely stick to the Chinese poetic feeling, many people won't understand what's happening. So we plan to learn from Disney short Bao, which is the one showing in the middle. When we want to make the theme universal, which is friendship. So it's easy to understand for everyone. And art-wise, we stick to the Chinese ink painting to preserve its authenticity. Next, AJ will talk about our 3D animatic.
Thanks, Chelsea. Now we shall be showcasing a version of the animatic that we've created. Kindly note that the idea about this animatic is to define certain elements such as composition and timing for the actual animation. This animatic, however, does not represent the final animation of the characters, the final models, and the look of the piece itself. But this shall act as a precursor for the final piece. There are still a lot of edits that need to be made to the animatic, especially to the pacing and some important story beats. The animatic contains supportive text to explain what's happening in the scene. So here's a look.
Thanks, AJ. So one of the major challenges this semester was to create an art style resembling the Chinese ink style paintings. We got a lot of important feedback from quarters regarding the look we should go for and our art style. Next. We have incorporated all the salient features of the ink style painting, such as strokes on the mountains, use of fog around the base of the mountains, bamboo leaves, and other foliage, which are all referenced from these ink style paintings. Next. These are some of the 3D models which we are using in our scenes. This is the boat, boya comes in. This is the zither, which is a string instrument, and these are the bamboo leaves. Next. These are some of the 3D models we are using to create our forest scene. Next. This is one of our main characters, Zichi. He's a woodsman and he's younger as compared to the other character. That's why in his character development, we are using softer and rounder shapes. Next. This is Boya. He's supposed to be the zither master. He's also older in age. That's why he's kind of hunched and has sharper features. Next. These are screenshots of our work in progress rigs. We are still adding in functionality for facial rigging. Next. And these are blocks of our animation, which you've already seen in the animatic. Next, Isaac will talk about technology.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. So I will talk about our Inco style rendering, our VFX, and our tools. So go next. Yeah. So to achieve our target art style, we developed a real-time simulation approach in our early research stage. If you compare our video to the image on the left, we can see this method reflects the feature of ink dispersal fairly well. Unfortunately, this only works with the scene is static. If we go to next page, we can clearly see that there are some artifacts happening if we move the camera or the scene. So we may solve this problem if we have more time, but considering our limited time, we decided to go back to a more traditional way. So next page. Here's our current approach. As you can see, the outline of the object still mimics some subtle details of ink brush strokes. So next page. For our hair assets, we are actually using hand painting textures, and because we think that will be fast and it's more art directable. Next page. And for VFX, like the leaf and the ripple and the rain, we're using the built-in Agra particle system in Unreal, and we're going to do cloud simulation as well, and we plan to use Houdini to do that. Next page. And for tools, thanks to the game engine nature of Unreal, I can easily have some scripts to help our artists to be efficient. Like in this scenario, we can turn the normal objects into a stylized one with only one click. So next, AJ, do you want to talk about sequencer?
Sure. So we're making use of the inbuilt sequencer in Unreal Engine to lay out our shots. We have strong creative control when it comes to using cinematic effects, such as implementing depth of field, using variable aperture, all of that fun stuff. But we're making sure that we don't let the technology at hand dictate how our shots look like, but using them to strengthen our storytelling and art structure. Now, Karen, can you talk about our pipeline?
Yes, thank you, AJ. For the pipeline, we got pre-packaged from previous semester's team, and we made 2D animatic of it. Next, according to our researchers, as well as weekly feedbacks from our advisors after we showed our 2D animatic, we improved the story. Then we began to make 3D animatic based on our new story. While we are working on the camera movement, artists in our team also started making art assets, including character models, environment, rigging, as well as visual effects. Finally, we got our 3D animatic work, which we already showed to you. Next page, please. These are the tools we used. For modeling, we used Blender, Maya, and ZBrush. For texturing, we used Substance Designer, Substance Painter, and we also used Procreate to hand paint ink style texture. For animating, we used Maya. For visual effects and clothing, we used Houdini. For rendering, we used Unreal Engine 4. And for compositing, we are going to use Premiere Pro and After Effects. Next, Rosie, can you talk about the pre-production package?
Yep, thanks, Karen. Next, I'm going to talk about the pre-production and future plan. We had 4 pitch ideas: the lizard, an animated comic, the spider string, and the spooky campfire story. We have been through the pitch process and settled down with the topic of a spooky campfire story. And this is going to give to a future team. We plan to give the audience a spooky feeling, and we are settled down to use multimedia. And about the future plan, here's our schedule breakdown. We have 50% completion now, and by playtest day, we'll have 60%. And we'll have the final cut of our current production by soft. Meanwhile, we're making the mood board, the storyboard, and the 2D animatic for the prepackage. Those will be done by final. Special thanks to all who helped us in various areas. And so once again, we're making a short animated film adapting the Chinese legend, High Mountain Flowing Water. And meanwhile, we're making a pre-production package for a future team. And now we are open for questions.
Great job, team. Good job. Yay. And for everybody, oh, there you go. Chris has already got a question. So Chris, go for it.
Sorry, muted, sorry. 2 times in the story, which is beautiful, you used text on the screen in the animatic to tell us important details. The first was that the negative version was in the boy's imagination, and then later, when the main character is filled with anguish and pain. And I was wondering how you were going to make sure we knew that as an audience without the text.
Yeah, I can take that. I think that's a pretty good question and something that we've been discussing since the beginning of our semester. Like these are important beats, and we want to make sure that people understand what we're trying to tell with it. I guess the latter one, I can say that the one where it's mentioned that he was in anguish and pain, definitely that is one thing that we want to answer with our animations. So right now we're working on facial rigs for the characters, and we want to make sure that we are able to express their emotions through the animation itself. So we plan to do that with our with the animation. And when it comes to the boy's imagination, that is something that we are still discussing in the team. We want to make a completed version of that entire sequence from like that entire imagination sequence shot essentially, and we want to play test that further to kind of get an idea of if people think that if it actually feels like you're in like someone's conscience or like in someone's imagination, or is it just like a disconnect. So that is something that we're still discussing in the team.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ralph, you got a question?
I do. I have a question about the color palette. It starts off with also with being in a very strong sepia kind of tone quality to it. And I don't know whether I blinked and I'm not quite sure about what I'm going to say here. So I need your help. It seems like the color palette changed. It didn't stay in the it didn't stay in that sepia tone all the way through. It changed. Is that true, or am I off about that, or is it on purpose?
I think maybe I can take that question. So for the color palette, yes, we changed. And I'm not sure, are you saying including the intro part? Or
well, it starts off with the intro part, and also into that first animatic, we see that it has a sepia kind of tone to it, this old sort of sepia colored.
Yes,
yes. But it seems like it changed off and on throughout, and I wasn't quite sure whether that was on purpose or whether it's you're still trying to figure it out in play testing or whatever. I'm not quite sure. Does it change throughout in given the tone of it, given the story element? Is it used? Is the color changes used as part of storytelling device?
Yes, and yes. Yeah. So we first of all we did a lot of research on that period, because this story happens in a certain period called spring and autumn period, and that the artwork from that period has specific color palette, and we make sure we are taking color from that, like from those color palettes. And yes, we changed the color palette because a year later, the mountain recluse died, and the mood becomes very sad. And meanwhile, the time changed. The time changed from daytime to nighttime. So we changed the color palette, but we are still exploring, because this is like I said, this is only 50% completion right now, and we are still working on refining it. But yes, I think we're still gonna keep the kind of cold tone of it, because overall, 1 year later, the story is going like to be pretty sad. So we kind of like the color palette right now, but we need some suggestion. So later on we can talk about this.
Thank you, Rosie.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the question.
Time for one more. All right, then. Great job, team. Congratulations. So if you could mute yourself and turn off your video, and the next team voicers, if you're ready, we'll start highlighting you. So if you can unmute and turn on your videos, and we'll find you. I see minutes. Oh, team background. So nice. Coming, coming, coming. Who am I missing? Max. Why? All right. Oh, wait.
Yeah. So good afternoon and hello everyone. We're the team Voicers. So we are a team of 4 people. Max and Kwan are the programmers. Min is the artist and designer, and I'm the producer of my team. Our instructors are Mike and Ricardo. So first, Max will give the project a brief introduction.
Sure. Thank you so much, William. So our client is BGEA, Black Girls Equity Alliance, which is an alliance of some Western Pennsylvania organizations and individuals whose goal is to address the disparity problems for the Black girls living in the region. Currently, the BGEA has 4 work groups which focus on improving the child welfare, juvenile justice, education, as well as health and wellness for Black girls. And here are our clients, Cassie, Jose, and Heather. So what we got so far? So currently, the clients periodically produce reports on the living experience and conditions of Black girls. All these reports are straightforward PDF, which is not very attractive to read through. So our group decided to visualize these reports by using interactive charts and graphic novel narration to tell a story of a Black girl, so that the audience can have an interactive experience in receiving the vital message that our clients want to express through their reports. An interactive story helps the audience to visualize the Black girls' difficulties, as well as help them to work through the topics covered by the reports instead of letting the audience digging into the PDF files, which is not a very appealing experience. So overall, our project goal is to create an educational and promotional web experience to bring a broader understanding to the public on the Black girls' living experience. And our target audience will be general public in Pittsburgh area, but it's not going to be limited by that. We want to spread out the BGA's idea to as many people as possible to let them know the situation of Black girls, and maybe increase some possible funding for the BGA as well. Now, Kwan will talk in detail on our design process.
Thanks, Max. So we started the background research even before the semester. Among other materials we found, this documentary gave us the most inspiration for both the design work and emotional feelings. Like the interview part, which may be the most meaningful part, shows us a very efficient way to collect accurate information about the opinions and the thoughts for Black girls. It also provides us many details about what is happening in the current education system, not just the problems like racism, discrimination, struggles, but also the wishes and desires of these Black girls. With this research result, we came up with 3 very basic plans. The first one is a web app for Black girls to share experience and seek help which means we are mainly focused on the black girls themselves rather than the outside groups. The second one is an interactive graphic novel app. It's a transformational game with education purpose. The third one is a landing page with interactive data, which is also our final decision. There are several reasons. Firstly, landing page is acceptable to a larger audience compared with others that only focus on very specific group. The target audience of landing page is more general, which best fits our goal to bring broader awareness and look for more supporters. Secondly, landing page is highly extendable and flexible. As long as the basic sections are done, we could easily add other features as new sections. Finally, it is the best way to present the materials we got from BGEA, so we decided to go into this direction. After the basic frame was determined, we started further brainstorming. The proposal 1 is a mini plan for game. It will be wrapped and embedded into our landing page as section 2 below the header section. For this one, we focus on the gameplay rather than the data visualization, because we want to inspire visitors' interest at the beginning of the whole user journey. The game time will be limited to 2 to 3 minutes, and the mechanism is to dodge all the barriers like virus, which represents health issues, just kind of like Super Mario. And the second proposal is interactive storytelling. We plan to show black girls' lived experience from a junior high school student's perspective. With simple clicking and scrolling, the user can see some related data via those interactive items, showing different things. After discussion with client and advisor, we find a minigame can be a little bit too distracting, and it is very hard to avoid the stereotypes in short games. So we decided to go into the second direction and tweak some of the theme setting. Now Min's gonna talk more about details of story design.
Thank you, Kwan. Now I'm going to talk about the structure of the story we're going to tell. First of all, we will start with the school scene. It shows a straight-A black student finally fights back after being bullied repeatedly. We will use bullying notes, police card to show the related data, and the overall vibe we want to create for this scene is sympathetic. After the girl is referred to the police, she is suspended from school. We use statistics to show how many irrational reasons can lead to suspension and how suspension can dramatically affect Black girls' school life. In the final scene, we will show some shared experience and community of Black girls. For example, how they rebuild themselves after getting help from BGA and other organizations. Also to raise the awareness of the general public to help improve Black girls' lives. After we finish the 3 school scenes, we will go back to focus on the structural inequity issues from a larger scale, like how racism affects the healthcare condition of Black moms and the newborn babies. Also, we will review some data related to the home and environment where Black girls grow up, so the audience can have a better understanding of the reasons that lead to some of the Black girls' sufferings in their school life. As for the art style, the current visual of the website is clean and simple. We decided to keep the original theme color purple and add some bright colors like yellow and orange to make the overall color scheme vivid, but also visually consistent. After doing some research on contemporary artworks from African American artists, we find 2 main visual styles. One is abstract illustration style and the other is pop art. And we decided to go into the first direction to better match the current visual styles. This style is with few details and minimal facial expression, so we can easily avoid stereotypes, and it is also easier for the Black girls to relate. Meanwhile, it is convenient to iterate the art assets as well. Within each story scene, there are 2 versions. One is the reality and the other is the first vision. By this way, we not only want to draw the audience attention to the vital issues Black girls are facing, but also try to provide a positive information as much as possible. In reality, fact and conflicts will be revealed in the form of illustrations and interactive charts. And in vision, hope and the potential solutions will be provided more on the positive side. What's more, there will be a switch shared in both versions to change the mode. As for the interaction, there will be several interactive objects in each scene. Related data will pop up in a window to reveal detailed situations of the Black girls' lives. For example, in the referral scene, you can see the referral data after click the police car. And the paper plane shows the bullying data. The hanging light is the switch. Once you click the light, an ideal image of the Black girl quietly studying will replace the fighting scene. But to achieve this goal, we need the school, the police, and the justice system to provide solutions to make the changes. After you click those items, related solutions will be provided. At the same time, we keep the pose and the position of the girl the same to maintain the consistency and exaggerate the contrast. After we finish the 5 scenes in the story section, we will continue to work on the background part to show more structural reasons in the system behind the Black girls' lives. After that will be a BGA section to show their services and success stories. In the end, there will be a chance for the visitors of this web page to leave a message to show their support to Black girls' lives. Next, William is gonna show you the working demo.
Yeah, thanks, Mint. So first of all, the website is deployed to the static URL so that everyone can access it. We added Google Analytics as well to track users' behaviors. You can notice there's an adorable animation and a slogan because we don't want to directly tell users what this website is about, and we want to attract them to scroll down. So if you click on this navbar, you can go to the story section. This is the referral scene saying that Serena finally fight back after being bullied by other kids repeatedly. And if you click on the police card, you can see some relevant data like the juvenile justice referral rates for Black girls are extremely higher compared with their white peers. And if you click on the light, it will switch to the vision mode, showing some relevant information about what can we do to change this. As mentioned before, it's one part in our story, and for each part of the story, we'll do a reality and a vision scene, and we will add the rest of the story into our website in the next several weeks. So for the tag perspective, for the front end, we're using React, which is one of the most popular JavaScript library. It's easier to get started with compared with other frameworks like Angular, and also more flexible for smaller projects. It's also based on components, which means it's easier for us to work with and collaborate. So these are several libraries we're using, and we're planning to import more libraries as we need. They're open source. So for example, eChart is a library for some interactive charts and data visualization, and React Spring is an animation library to build some animation and visual effects. We're also using React Scroll, Use Sound, and Get Pages, and more libraries. We added GA as well to track users' data and behaviors to better improve the website. For example, are they clicking the interactive items on the page, and are they clicking the link to go to see more details? So there are several technical difficulties we've encountered. The first thing is animation. As I mentioned, React Spring is an animation library we're using. However, it's based on JavaScript and DOM manipulation. So there will be some performance issues if we use it extensively. And in order to solve that, we only use React Spring for one-time animations. For continuous or infinite animations, we're using pure CSS. Besides, responsive layout is a topic we'll work on in the following weeks. We also had several discussions about the component hierarchy and state management. React uses top-down component hierarchy and data streaming pattern by default. And another way is called Redux, which will put all the data into a store. And when our UI component say, hey, I need this data, it will directly get the data. Since we don't have many states, and adding Redux will add some redundant code to the project, we finally chose the native pattern. So now I will talk about our future plan. In the following weeks, we'll be improving the story pattern for better reuse from the design, art, and text perspectives, as well as tweaking the rest parts of the story. And after that, we will add them to our website together with other sections. When we have a whole working website, we will focus on playtest and responsive layout. So we want to say thank you to our instructors and clients and those people who have helped us. So to summarize, we are the team Voicers. We are creating an educational and promotional web experience to bring a broader understanding to the public on the Black girls' lived experiences. We're using storytelling to tell a story of a Black girl and show some relevant data. For each part of the story, we will show both the reality and vision to let people know what's the current situation and what can we do to solve these issues. Yeah, so that's it for our presentation. And any questions so far?
All right, congratulations, team. Great job. And so if people have any questions, you can put them in the chat and Dave will call on you. Oh, my chat just disappeared. There we go. Okay.
John, you'll go ahead. John Bellish.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just for William specifically. So after you worked on the Career 2040 project and the Algorithmic Hiring Center, what did you take from that project to this one? And sorry, it's specific for William.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to answer this question because I think the most important lesson I learned is it's hard to expect people to have a lot of empathy in a short experience. Like I remember in Career 2040, at first we wanted the users to be the young lady to create more empathy. But after that, we decided to let the users be an observer. And things are quite the same. So in our story, we don't let the audience to be the young Black lady. Instead, they're just observing this.
Steve, you got a question?
Hi, what is your plan to hand this off to the client?
So, Max, do you want to answer?
Because you have some website hosted somewhere under your name.
Do you want to answer it, William? I don't know.
Yeah. So so currently we're just using a free service called GitHub Pages, and after that, I believe we will deploy this website under our client server, like for final handoff.
I'm sorry. So the client has a server.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, our website will be acting as like a front door website for their current website. So basically, we are trying to attract more people to like browse through official websites. That is the current website.
Okay. So the client has a means by which to host this themselves at the end of the semester. Okay, good.
Mo, go ahead.
Yeah, you have an example up on screen now. Can you talk a little bit more about what your vision is for the balance between storytelling through imagery versus storytelling through data visualization and how you're going to craft that?
Yeah, I think I can take that question. Currently, what we get from the client is not very structural data. They are just like scattered data points instead of like a database or something. So I think we will mainly try to visualize the whole story by illustrations instead of data visualizations. But after they click on those interactive objects, they will see like interactive charts, and there will be some detailed revealed in those charts, but we will not like try to use those very typical data visualizations because we don't have enough data points.
Time for one more. All right then. Thanks, team. Good job. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So next up, I know wow, we're on time. We have cloudworks.
Are we still waiting on Alan?
Yeah, he hasn't joined us yet, has he?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so. I think he's still in class.
Yeah, he should just be coming from that test right now. So.
Oh yeah, we could give it a couple minutes. You want to wait? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, thank you.
We'll keep you all spotlit, so you need to behave and be on your best. Or you could turn your cameras off. Let's give Alan, since he just came out of class, we were aware of this, but we had to give hotspot prime position at the end of the day. So see if Alan, no pressure. Come on, Alan.
Okay, Max, give us a suggestion.
I don't know, maybe improv something like pretend Alan is here.
Alan is joining the meeting as we speak. That was only 2 minutes. Isn't it amazing how long 2 minutes feels?
Annie made our beautiful backgrounds. Kara made the cute little avatars.
I don't know, I'm spotlighting Alan. Ta-da! So whenever y'all are ready.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. We are Cloudworks Productions, and our faculty advisors for this semester are Shirley Saldamarco and Dave Solba. So as we all know, with COVID-19 is keeping us all working remotely, and so we're unable to hold the traditional ETC festival that we know and love. But our team is responsible for redesigning that experience into a remote presentation format that keeps true to the core of what makes the festival so successful. For these purposes, we're creating a virtual space from which guests can interact with each other, with our students, and directly access the students' work. In order to help establish early on what we're building, we can show a brief demo showcasing some of what we're planning for this virtual festival experience. So guests will be greeted with a simple login screen asking for their name and an invitation code that they'll receive prior to the festival. From here, they can customize an avatar to represent themselves before proceeding into the world. As they enter, they can engage with fellow guests or students through text and voice chat. And after this, they may navigate around the space to download and launch project builds from specific locations around the world. And they'll be able to launch Zoom calls directly from the experience to interact with the teams. When done, they can close these applications and seamlessly rejoin the festival where they left off. And to go over how we've made decisions about the festival, I'll pass it over to Beck.
Thanks, Jack. So starting off the semester, we wanted to do some research to see if we could define what makes the ETC Fall Festival so great. We did some initial surveys and came up with these design pillars. However, after some playtests and alumni interviews, we iterated and came up with the design pillars camaraderie, guest-oriented, and project-oriented. So looking at our design pillars alongside the metrics we are using to define success, we were able to come up with more specific goals represented here by each checkmark. For example, to ensure we have successfully designed for camaraderie, we must meet the client requirements to allow networking among guests and the ability to showcase ETC work. We will know if we are effective by studying guest behavior and receiving guest feedback. And we will know we have quality assurance by allowing for as much virtual socializing as we can and have a personalized avatar for the guests to feel connected. Through the system, we can do the same for the other design pillars. And so using that previous success matrix, we can start turning abstract goals into real deliverables. We can take the goals of socialization, interaction with work, adaptability, and robust technology, and create a proposed MMO style experience that allows for avatar interaction in the form of a PC build that can launch a build or Zoom meeting to interact with the students. We will also have a website with individual builds and a live stream, along with 3 sessions or blocks and a lot of stress testing. So to compare with the traditional ETC festival, we are proposing multiple blocks over one day, each about 3 hours long. Invitations and format will vary based on level of engagement. So for our waiters, there will be a website with information and FAQs. The swimmers can check out our live stream and download individual builds, but our divers will be the ones who receive invitations and a download of our virtual festival experience. So our live stream proposal for our swimmers will accommodate guests with time differences and tech restraints by appealing to a broader audience and providing easy access. We will have student hosts who can cut to live content from the virtual festival, and to avoid burnout, we will only do this for 1 block or session. What we need to make this happen is to work with students and faculty who have these skills and tools and access to a streaming service such as YouTube. Now for our invited guests and divers, we have our proposed virtual space, the MMO style experience. Using our design pillars against this level of engagement, we know that we want avatars the guests can personalize, the ability for guests to communicate, guest agency that allows for free exploration, and to be family friendly and accessible to all guests ages 7 to 70. We still want students to feel ownership over the festival, so we will allow them to theme virtual rooms. And last but not least, we want guests to access student work easily, as that is the highlight of the event. And now I'll pass it off to Kara, who will go further into our virtual space design.
Thanks, Beck. So thinking of creating an escape from this unexpected 2020, we chose retrofuturism as our theme and want to build an alternative universe where we can all celebrate festival together. In order to provide a consistent experience for guests, we also have a short onboarding video which bridges you from reality to the virtual space. For the avatar system, we use simple UI to let people create their own avatar. We want to provide the feeling of freedom by letting people choose head, upper body, and lower body. To enhance psychological proximity by providing different t-shirt design like ETC shirt and alumni shirt. Also, the system can be a conversation starter. Like when you wear the alumni shirt, others can recognize your identity then start a conversation. The reason we choose 2D pixelated style is because it fits in our virtual space quite well, and it allows us to create a simple and robust pipeline for making a large quantity of avatars in a limited time. The pipeline starts from concept art, then to a grayscale pixel art, then we put them into Unity to add colors from our set color palette and combine the 2D sprites into animation. For the environment, we want the guests to have a clear view and simple navigation by using environment as hint. As you see in the demo, there are buildings as entry points to the visual story theater. There will also be an exit point to help with the traffic flow. In the future, we will add a texture ground like the reference picture for navigation between different areas. For the whole virtual space, we have a welcome lobby where people can mingle and explore freely. In the lobby, you can enter our BBW arena, where we have temporary room for students to decorate by following our guidelines. In the Visual Story Theater, guests can watch and experience visual story videos. In the project village, we will work with the second-year team to let them provide a symbolic object from their project as an entrance point. To keep the art style consistent, we will add a shader to make the whole 3D environment look retro in the next step. Also, we did lots of playtests to find the camera angle that provides the best view. Next, Annie will talk about communication and UI design.
Thank you, Kara. So we designed two communication medium. As you can see on the left, guests can chat with each other via text, or as on the right, chatting over audio with whoever is in the same chat booth with you. We're still testing and iterating on the communication design, how to best support social experiences on the festival. One thing we did was we learned from the alumni interview about how they moved around the festivals in the past, that they would have random chats in the hallway, catching up with one another and sharing exciting projects or recommendations. Our goals are to fulfill the guest's wish to share those moments and express themselves in the most simple and intuitive way possible, while keeping the tech robust and stable. Next, we also iterated our menu UI based on what we learned from playtesting. Starting from the basic clickable prototype in grayscale, we learned to adjust the size and terminology for better clarity to serve a variety of guests. After that, we added on the colors and art style, a help button as a first layer of self-troubleshoot, and an exit out button. Now, what does the guest experience look like? As a guest, you will receive the website link and invite code from the invitation email. As you hop onto the website, there is information about the festival, the project, and how to install the festival build itself. You will find the onboarding guide on the website. Go through a tech check that you have it on a Windows system. Check your mic and webcam, for a better experience, and install some external applications, such as Desktop Zoom and Air Console on your phone. You will also be given an optional choice to download full package of all the projects before the event even starts, or to only download selected ones in real time during the event. Now, on the day of the event, you will launch the festival build and log in with your invite code. Create your own avatar, then be greeted into this virtual welcome lobby. You can now move around in the virtual space, meet people, chat, and choose whichever project you want to experience. As you can see in the demo, to access the student's interactive project is by moving close to this interactive object, and it'll ask you if you want to download to play, or the other one is to enter a Zoom room to play with others. Next, we'll have Jim to explain how the tech realize our design.
Thanks, Annie. So our programming task can be divided into two categories: to create social experience and to be the container of the content. And beyond those features, as a delivery of project, we also want to value robustness along with providing features. So here comes the robustness. In our project, to support all the features, we need solid foundation components like network, voice chat, download, and etc. But building such a foundation is not an easy task. First, we will have a time challenge. It's pretty much like a marshmallow challenge where you have to have a good design in your head first and do iterations and know when to stop. Let's take the network system as an example. In the first place, we need a good design. So we use the tested package which supports 500 concurrent users and build on it. And based on that, we also keep doing stress testing and iterations. At the same time, you cannot just always expect your marshmallow tower to be higher. So for the next step, which is about 2 weeks later, we'll stop all the iterations and set all the watermarks. And beyond the time challenge, the other challenge is the resource challenge. We don't have the server like Google and Zoom to host everything. Therefore, we need to design the tech better. For example, for the audio chat, we establish a peer-to-peer connection between the guests, and the ETC server will just work as a handshaker. Also, there will be a limitation for the maximum guests connected to one channel. We won't risk our server to be overloaded. And right now, we are working actively with the IT staff to set up our own Signal server, and this design also makes them feel way better. And next, Alan will talk about the top layer, the technical system.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Now I would like to talk about some system design problems like a user login system and chat system. Such kind of system needs to be both robust and have good user experience. Because of these requirements, we realize that we should design the system that is both simple for user and also simple for underlying mechanism. The first system we need to design is a login system. Thinking about it, most people came up with the idea of the password system. It seems that this system is something simple and user-friendly, but actually it is not. There are much more things to consider to apply it, like a cybersecurity system, password strength system, password reset system, password-related email support, and its related Q&A web page. Thus, our project doesn't use this kind of traditional password system. It just makes our design more complex while not necessarily making our guest experience better. Since this system has complex underlying mechanisms, we use invitation code system instead. Our team will send the invitation code to the invited guests, and the guests can use that code to directly log into our platform. If guests lost their code, we can just resend the same email anytime. Now let's talk about the text chat system. Do you think text chat system is simple? No, it is not. What if users send bad words and hurt other people's feelings? What if our guests want to type some foreign characters like Chinese and Japanese? So our design of the text chat is that we will have a report system who warns and bans people that use bad words frequently. Report system has been tested on a lot of social platforms, so it should be a good solution. For the foreign letters problems, we chose the Unicode encoding format to support all the foreign letters. In the field of software engineering, there is a KISS principle, which means keep it simple and stupid. In the future, we will keep following this principle and consider using more system design techniques to help keep everything simple and within the scope. Now Jack will talk about our project's future plans.
Thanks, Alan. So with anything done in a live presentation format, it's incredibly important to have backup plans for worst case scenarios. In the event of a system crash day of, we're planning to have a portion of the festival website live that could only be accessed by the same invite codes that we're sending to each guest. From this space, they'll be able to access all of the Zoom link calls that would be found in our build, and then they will be able to download project files from these Zoom calls. From a guest perspective looking forward, they can expect to receive their initial invitations the week of November 2nd, which they'll need to respond to by the end of the month to give us an accurate head count. The week of festival, they'll receive a final email containing their invite code and the link to the website. And this final date and time of festival has been submitted for approval to our festival committee. So our playtesting process thus far has included an alternating series of experience and stress testing. And that schedule will continue up until the day of festival. Our goal is to have the build feature complete at week 12 to focus on stability in the final 2 weeks. After that, we're testing out live streaming. In the next 2 weeks, and we'll be holding rehearsals of our final rundown schedule in week 14. At week 11, we plan to have our pipeline established for how to implement BBW Worlds and other projects into the festival in advance of their final submissions in week 14. So with all of these projects coming together and working together, we can promise a new virtual festival experience that will connect our ETC community together despite the state of the world we live in currently, and we can't wait to see you there. We are cloudworks, and we're open for questions.
All right, congratulations, team. Great job. Alan coming in right at the end there. All right, good job. And if any questions, put them in the chat, and Dave will call on you.
Ralph, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. I may have missed this, but when you're in the world, when you're in the space, and you want to talk to someone, chat with someone, do you know who that person is? Is there identification? Like, so for example, some of our guests will know other people in their field. Well, and like in the real world, they want to go to them. They'll gravitate to those people to talk to them. Can you do that in this world, in this space?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we're trying to design for. So the avatars will have their names above their head, kind of like in our backgrounds right now. So you'll be able to identify by names, and hopefully they personalize their avatar to kind of make it look a little bit like them, so you can identify them further through that. Additionally, we will have like the alumni t-shirts. So if you're looking for someone from a particular class, hopefully that'll be another way as well.
Also, as like you're making audio connection with other guests, there like the UI will pop up like who you are making audio connection with, like who is in the same room with you with their name.
Thank you.
Carl, go ahead. Oh.
Yeah, I had a question about the invite schedule. It seemed like you guys are asking people to commit to their invites pretty far in advance before the festival. And I'm wondering why that is from two standpoints. One, are people actually going to plan that far ahead? And two, why is it important for you guys to know how many people are showing up if it's an all virtual festival? Thank you.
So as far as committing to like the RSVP, the date by which they have to RSVP is pulled from the normal schedule of events. So that final week of November is typically when people have to RSVP to the festival.
Yeah, I thought that was a lot because there was logistical planning around actually having live humans in a space.
Yeah, so we also just have to be sending out the invitation codes as well in advance. So there is that to handle. So we just want to make sure that we know a couple weeks in advance exactly what the number will be, because there is a limitation for how many people can join the build at once. And so we want to make sure that we have an appropriate distribution of people across each session.
Great, thank you.
Mo, you got a question?
Yeah, it's a similar question. The user experience seems to be closely tied to the lobby size. And sorry if I missed it, but what are we thinking the lobby size will be? And is it multiple lobbies will run at the same time, or is it just one big one? And can you talk more about that vision?
Okay, so like we have like a long, like when you first land into the virtual space, there's like a common lobby, and whenever you reach into the room, reach into the building, it will take you to another like a lobby like. So like you might be in the project village, or you might be in the we call it BVW arena at the moment. Like that is where you can access all the BVW projects, like BVW worlds. So there will be like, sorry,
just following up, like it's one big lobby per session, correct? And how many people will be in there at one
so
time?
up to 500 at the moment. Like we'll do more stress testing to make sure how many we can handle at the same time.
Okay, so then the real question then is like, how are we going to test that 500 people in one lobby is a good user experience and not chaos?
If Jim, do you want to take that for it? Because we have been talking a lot about like stress testing, and we have some different plans for.
But not from a technical point of view, because let's just say it has to work with 500 people. But how do we know that's not chaos from like, oh my God, there's millions of these avatars or 500 of these avatars crawling around. I can't make sense of like who anyone is or where they are or what's going on.
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about for that was being able to like record your movements. So like we could all go in, do a bunch of different random movements, have that recorded, and then like multiply that like 500 times so that we can see if it's too cluttered. Because, you know, like the chat box, it does kind of cut off a little bit of your screen. So if a bunch of people are chatting at once, can everyone see the chat box? So that's something we definitely have included in our plans, but that's kind of what we were thinking right now.
Yeah, so in summary, we're going to we are planning the playtest for the capacity of the lobby, and beyond the like automatic client, we will also try to use platforms like Mechanical Turk to invite people to playtest our project. And also we will have a lot of mechanism in our project, like congestion controls. It's just like theming park, you have an entrance and an exit, they're all separated, and we want the people to just like follow the flow. Yeah,
fantastic.
All right, sorry we hit time there. Ricardo has a good question in chat y'all might want to address later, but we need to move along. So if you all could turn off your cameras and mute your mic.